Welcome to The Explainer. This whole AI revolution, it's not just some tech headline you can ignore. According to one expert, it's actually the biggest financial opportunity of our lifetime. And today, we're going to walk through the playbook for how you can claim your stake in it. Now, that is a pretty bold statement, right? It's from Neil Patel, a serial entrepreneur and marketing guru. This is a guy who literally built his fortune mastering the first wave of the internet, Google and SEO. But now he's saying we are at a massive turning point, one that's going to completely reshape how we work, how we search for information, and how we build businesses. So for a lot of people, this kind of rapid change it feels like a threat. It's scary. But Patel argues that this huge disruption isn't something to fear. In fact, for anyone who's ready to adapt and, more importantly, to act, he says this is the beginning of a new AI gold rush. All right, so let's dive right into Neil Patel's playbook. We're going to start by really understanding the huge shifts that are happening right now. Then we'll cover the winning mindset you absolutely need. After that, we'll get super practical with 3 powerful business ideas you could literally start today. And we'll wrap it all up with the single most important first step you can take. Okay, first things first, let's get a clear picture of the new landscape. Patel says this whole gold rush is being fueled by 2, seismic shifts. And the first one is a radical transformation of the workforce itself. Now, what's so interesting here is the change in shape. You see, the traditional company was a pyramid, right? A huge base of employees doing all the repetitive, mundane stuff. Patel argues we're moving to a diamond shape, where AI takes over all those boring tasks. This shrinks the base, makes companies way more efficient, and creates totally new kinds of jobs. And this is the second huge shift, what he calls the death of old Google. For like 20 years, search was simple. You typed in a question and got back 10 blue links. You had to do all the work, clicking around, piecing together the information. Now AI does the research for you. It gives you a single, synthesized answer right away. And that changes absolutely everything about how businesses get discovered online. So, with these massive changes happening in how we work and how we search, how do you actually position yourself to win? Well, Patel says it's not about being the most technical person in the room. Nope. It's about adopting the right mindset, and he boils it all down to a simple but really powerful formula. The winning approach isn't human versus AI. It's human plus AI. The whole goal is to let the technology handle the grunt work. The research, the first drafts, the data analysis. That frees you up to focus on the things that only a human can bring to the table. Your unique experience, your ability to tell a compelling story, and your strategic thinking. Look, the bottom line here is that adapting isn't something you can do from the sidelines. It's about getting your hands dirty and actually playing with the tools. It's about actively looking for the opportunity inside the change instead of fighting it. And most importantly, it's about figuring out your unique edge. What are you naturally good at? And then using AI to amplify that strength. Okay, so with that mindset in place, let's get into the real meat and potatoes. We're going to look at 3 simple, realistic business ideas that are in high demand, and the first one is all about automation. The idea is pretty straightforward. You create an agency that builds AI agents for other companies. Think about it. Every single business has those soul-crushing repetitive tasks, right? From answering the same customer service questions over and over to just endless data entry. It costs them a ton of time and money. The problem is, most business owners have heard of AI agents, but they have absolutely zero idea how to actually set them up. And this is why it's such a perfect storm. The market is just enormous, and the value you're providing is crystal clear. You are saving companies cold, hard cash. But here's the kicker, the most important part. The barrier to entry is shockingly low. With all these new no-code platforms, you don't have to be a software engineer to build really powerful solutions for people. And Patel's advice here is just so smart and practical. Don't go hide in a cave and build a product hoping someone will want it. No, talk to potential customers first. Find out what their actual pain points are. And then you just ask them a simple question. Hey, if I built something that solved that problem for you, would you pay me? Offering something like a free trial is a super low-risk way to land that all-important first client. All right, let's move on to opportunity number 2. And this one is a perfect example of that human plus AI formula we were just talking about. This is for all the creators, the writers, and the marketers out there. So, right now, the internet is just drowning in this awful, robotic, AI-generated content. You've seen it, right? It's just bad. Nobody wants to read it. Patel says the real opportunity is in creating a totally new kind of content agency, one that uses AI for speed and efficiency, but still relies on humans for quality and creativity. So the core idea is you're using AI as this hyper-efficient assistant. It does the research, it spits out an outline, it even writes the first draft. But then, a human editor comes in to add what Patel calls the special sauce. Personal experiences, unique insights, and a compelling voice. This doesn't just create way better content, it also happens to be exactly what Google is looking for. Stuff that shows real experience, expertise, and trust. And that brings us to our third and final opportunity, which is born directly from the death of that old 10 blue links search we talked about. Because as search changes, the science of getting found online has to change with it. SEO is evolving. So welcome to the new world of GEO, or Generative Engine Optimization. In the old days of SEO, the goal was to get your website to rank #1. Simple. In this new world of AI search, the goal is totally different. It's to get the AI model itself to recommend your product or your service directly in its answer. So how in the world do you do that? Well, these AI engines are basically looking for signals of trust and authority. Think of it like a reputation score for your brand. They're analyzing things like how often your brand gets mentioned online, whether people are saying good things about you, and if your website presents information in a really clear, structured way that's easy for an AI to understand. Mastering this is a whole new frontier for marketers. And make no mistake, this is not some small niche market. We're talking about 5 trillion searches a year on Google alone. That number is just staggering. And companies will pay a huge premium for experts who can help them show up in these new AI-powered results. That makes Geo a massive service opportunity. Okay, we've talked about the big picture, the winning mindset, and 3 absolutely huge, tangible business opportunities. But, as Patel points out, none of this information matters one bit without the final, critical piece of the puzzle: action. And honestly, this is where so many of us get stuck, right? You see all these options: AI agents, AI content, Geo, and it's easy to feel totally overwhelmed. That risk of analysis paralysis is real, and it can stop you dead in your tracks before you even begin. But Patel's advice just cuts right through all that noise with stunning clarity. He says, don't spend months trying to figure out which market is the biggest or which idea is perfect. Instead, just look at the options in front of you and ask one simple question: which one of these can get me to my first dollar the fastest? Because, as he says, revenue solves a whole lot of problems. And this right here really says it all. This is the main takeaway from his entire playbook. The winners in this new AI gold rush, they're not going to be the people with the most revolutionary ideas. They're going to be the doers. They're going to be the ones who experiment, who adapt, and who, most importantly, just take that first step. So the only real question left is, what's your first step going to be?